My name is Tshegofatso Neeuwfan. I'm the Deputy Chief of Party in charge of technical delivery for the Southern Africa Energy Program. My role on the program is to manage all technical delivery. Our program has five technical streams, and I manage them. Yeah, we're particularly excited about our work, the work that we're doing with municipalities. The main thrust of it is to get municipalities to a place where they can eventually take advantage of changes in new generation regulations and in the Electricity Regulation Act that enable municipalities to procure electricity from sources other than ESCOM, or to embed assets within the municipal grid. And most of municipalities either don't have the knowledge or um, the preconditions to procure from alternative sources, or to embed generation assets within their grids. And we are working on helping them to get their basics right, while they upskill on the new information and the new skills they require to eventually procure power from alternative sources. This work also includes, obviously, embedded generation will be easily deployed if it's renewable, and it has linkages to the just energy transition. So this is quite an interesting nexus of topics that we're interested in being involved in and in moving forward. So I work in municipalities, but we've done some really exciting work elsewhere in the region. Our program has activities in 10 countries across the region, and the activity is kind of drawing down to a close by September as our program winds down. But the work has included off-grid components where we've catalyzed the entry of new solar home system companies into some markets across the region. It has included also on-grid components where there were some unstable grids in the region that we're observing, that were in countries where more renewable energy was desired. So we help look at such issues and making sure that the preconditions for integrating renewable energy and stabilizing the grid growing economies exist. I think we're some way down the road. I wouldn't say that this question is that it's in infancy. I think significant inroads have been made through programs such as the South African Renewable Energy Integrated Independent Power Producer Program, the REAP program, and other programs elsewhere that have looked at catalyzing or making it easy for off-grid solutions to become widely used. And I think because renewable energy is so quick to deploy most of the time, and financiers, funders have some confidence in returns when deploying this type of assets. The proliferation of this type of generation technology has become quite widespread, and there are positive signals going forward that there will be even more or a higher penetration of renewable energy. Some of the topics that have made countries, utilities nervous in the past, such as grid integration, are becoming more manageable or more mainstream. Attitudes are also changing to addressing some of the more complex problems. So all signals indicate that going forward, there's going to be a higher uptake of renewable energy in our grids. There's going to be increased appetite for dealing with the complexity that renewable energies introduce. There's also going to be an increase in skills, especially local skills, to deal with such complexity and to deal with the different technology permutations. So positive indications that the uptake will increase. There's obviously a question of complementary technologies or transition fuels, transition technologies that hasn't been resolved yet, but that'll be a good topic to address or to tackle head on as we progress. Um, yeah, I mean, this my answer is going to seem a bit cliche, but power and energy drive economic development. Um, Energy poverty or the resolution of energy poverty is one of the preconditions to having local and nationwide or even continental development. And this excites me, being involved in an industry that is so catalytic. And it's one of those industries like, I guess, food production and food adequacy that has really difficult problems to solve, but you can't avert your eyes or your focus from the problems they need to be addressed. So addressing these like really challenging problems that have uh, great human and environmental impacts and implications really excites me. And there are significant opportunities, even with the uncertainty, because, like I said, these are problems that need, regardless of their complexity or how like intractable they seem to be, they need to be resolved. So opportunities always exist, even when there's a crisis, and the really convincing indications from the market that there are players that are really willing to take on the problems. Widespread stakeholder engagement is happening, where across some of these issues that you mentioned, the infrastructure, the policies, there is a conversation going on to move beyond some of the traditional issues. So, yes, excited to still be in the sector. Absolutely, yes, there are opportunities to capture, and even more, even beyond that, there are governments, there are individuals, there are entities that are willing to take on these challenges and resolve them. Ooh, okay. What about the energy sector is surprising? I guess what's surprising about the sector is that it it's the people who are obsessed about it. It's a sector that has people that are really dedicated to it over a very long term. So the fact of this dedication and the fact of these expertise and like institutional memory, just the longevity and the ability to track a problem from one end to the other because people stay in the industry is really valuable. And I could say that the little challenges of resolving, not even little challenges, they seem little but they are significant. The ability to pump water because there's now like a solar water pump that delivers electricity and water to a community. The fact of a computer center existing within a space where it didn't exist before is is really interesting. I guess on the negative, what is also surprising is how electricity touches every aspect of our lives. I mean, recently in South Africa, with all the load shedding that's going on, you're noticing impact from the load shedding that are spreading into telecommunication network availability, that are spreading into water supply availability, into every single aspect of our lives is affected by electricity, and it's always interesting, I guess, to note that how universally relevant the problem that you're solving is. The just energy transition as a topic is really important. I always tell people that the electricity supply industry, the energy sector, is going through a transition, whether you're driving it or not. And the just energy transition provides an opportunity to coordinate stakeholders, resources, and even agendas to, in a structured way, transition away from fossil heavy national grids, fossil heavy energy systems to more sustainable and cleaner ones. And if you look at integrated resource plans of different countries, if you look at even the willingness of funders to put money into assets, you can clearly see that a transition is going on. So the question is, how do you then look at and prioritize the just part of the transition? What kind of programs, activities can you put in place to ensure that an economy comes up that can absorb or provide jobs? What kind of programs can you put in place to ensure that there is inclusivity as these new greener economies come up? And what kind of stakeholder interactions and new economies, even beyond the green economy, are supported or catalyzed by this transition? So the transition is going on, whether you coordinate it or not. But the fact that the conversation is going on around the coordination of a transition and placing an emphasis on the just component of the transition is really important. So it's something to support, something for communities to get involved in. And some of the work that we do is to kind of catalyze change makers within communities, people who can make a meaningful contribution to what direction the just transition takes versus being passive recipients of what the changes become. And this is a very important element or consideration that will ensure that going forward there's an acceptance of solutions that are presented. And as political as energy is, it also, this kind of widespread engagement and participation from all sectors will also ensure that there's stability in the country or in the countries that are affected by such transitions. My message will be that the it's a challenging time for national grids. It's a challenging time for even global energy infrastructure, global energy markets. For the challenge for African utilities and African or local energy systems is to say, how do you take advantage of the transition that is happening? How do you take advantage or get ahead of some of the new topics that are emerging, such as battery storage? How can battery storage be used to address some of the challenges that utilities are facing? How can we get to universal access to electrification or to electricity using off-grid technologies? Just like, how do we harness the knowledge that has been developed and experiences from all over the world to address local problems? And these are the conversations that I hope to participate in. These are the conversations that I want to drive when I'm at the conference. Just that the energy sector presents and its evolution presents great opportunities for countries to rethink traditional ideas about how the electricity supply industry has been structured, and just looking forward to bringing everyone along on the path of transition, and also ensuring that the municipalities that we're working with are capacitated to improve the efficiency, improve the effectiveness of their grids, so that they too can take advantage of the advanced topics that are emerging within the electricity supply industry and the energy sector in general. That's all.